Hi, everybody. I thought I would give you an update about what's been happening over the past few days. I've I've been doing school online. The first 2 days of school last week, we had to go in person, but then after that, we could go and do it online through Zoom. If the teacher is there a couple of days out of the week on campus, but because of my lack of vehicle, I can't really go. And also, I was recovering from my injured foot. I can now go to school if I wanted to, but because I work also from 4 to 10 in the evening, I really don't think I could. When I have to go on campus for my classes that need to be on campus, I will make those arrangements with my job as well because it's the job I have is a part-time job and it's just enough to cover the bases what I need to do. So this past weekend I went to Fort Worth. Friday night, we left. I left early Friday morning. It had been a busy week for me because I had school all week, I had work all week. It was extremely exhausting. And then Friday morning, I got up, got dressed. I slept for a good part of the trip, like the first maybe 2 hours of it. And then I traveled with our monarchs, our emperor and empress, Joanna and Andy, and they let me travel with them, which was really nice because it's been a while since I've traveled with our monarchs. So it was nice to be able to do that and be able to enjoy that experience. Friday we got there about 1ish because from Corpus to Fort Worth it's about 6 to 7 hours. It is basically going to Dallas, and there wasn't a lot of traffic. It was actually pretty smooth getting up there. And then after we got to Fort Worth, we had time to we had time to kill because we couldn't check in until 3 or 4. Excuse me. So anyway, we arrive at the hotel. We check in. Well, we try to check in. They tell us we can't, and we decide to go to the store because somehow our emperor, he forgot to bring his suits, which I was not mad or anything. I was like, okay, well, so they decided to go to the store and go buy a suit. And in the process, Joanna ended up getting a dress too, which is something colorful and fun for the circus theme. I think it worked out. The dresses there were, most of the dresses they were selling at the store were very conservative, very Southern Baptist, but there was some pretty nice stuff in there too. There was gloves, there was jewelry. I didn't buy anything because I didn't really need anything. I was good for Coronation. I just needed to. So I just got myself together. After I got to Coronation, we got to check in. Before we checked in, we actually picked up some food at this restaurant called the Jesus Barbecue. They were supposed to serve barbecue, but they didn't have any barbecue. All they had was like Tex-Mex, like Mexican food. And I had enchiladas. So the enchiladas were good. I didn't have any issues with them. The plates were huge. The portions of the food were like, I could feed 3 people with it. It felt like I was eating. It ended up becoming 2 meals for me. I ate half then, and then I put the rest in the refrigerator in the hotel room. I ate the rest later that night. So it didn't go to waste. I don't typically waste food. That's a waste of money. And I also had brought plenty of snacks, Dr. Peppers, waters. Well, not waters. Joanna brought the waters, but I brought sodas, drinks, snacks, chips. I brought sandwich meat, bread, all kinds of stuff. I ended up not eating most of the food that I bought for this trip did not get eaten. Most of it's still in my kitchen. I ended up having a whole tub of lunch meat, and then another half. And then I bought 3 loaves of bread. Only one of them got eaten. So we really didn't eat that much out of that food. I mean, I ate snacks and stuff like that on the road, but it was pretty much I had plenty of food and had extra, way too much. But I've always been told it is better to have more than less, so I took care of that. And I did my best to help them the best I could as well. And I thought maybe having drinks and lunch meat would help. I mean, of course, if we wanted to go eat somewhere, we could. No one had to eat the sandwich meat that I brought, which I did eat at some point on the trip. I just didn't eat it, but I ended up eating out too. So we went to Jesus Barbecue, and then after that we went back to the hotel. Our Monarchs didn't, Joanna didn't get in drag because she didn't feel like she had time, which was understandable. I get ready within an hour or so, so I was actually ready pretty quickly. I got ready for the show, I had my music ready, and I turned it in. So the show was pretty long because they had the in town and out of town together. And being that I kind of turned the music kind of towards the end before everything started at 5 or 5:30. I was towards the end. I wasn't not. I really at that point I wasn't worried. We were gonna be there for a while, and there wasn't a bar run this year. They just did the in town out of town show at the bar, and then they did awards. So that worked out. I decided to do Satisfied from Hamilton for that show. I decided to do it because one, I do it well. Two, there's no videos of me performing at this past weekend because Satisfied, we already have a video of that, and it's kind of redundant. And then the second number for the Victory show, I performed before, but it wasn't recorded, so I don't have a video of that number either. I decided just to enjoy the show, not have people. I didn't think this weekend was a very interesting weekend because there was a lot more people than I expected as well. You know, they did have a set limit for tickets of how many people can actually be there on Saturday night for the ball. You know, our Monarchs had bought an extra ticket, and I reimbursed them for that ticket. So let's see. After the show, we went back to the hotel room, got out of face, took, wiped, cleaned up, got comfortable. I started eating my enchiladas, and by that point I was tired. I mean, that night I did drink 3 margaritas, 3 shots of Fireball, and I don't really drink very much. I typically, when I'm at Coronation, I'll drink a little bit more than I normally do, but I normally don't get drunk or wasted. Although the next morning I did wake up with a bit of a migraine. I don't know why, because I did eat after I drank, and then I did eat breakfast that morning, because I actually got up at 9 o'clock and had their free breakfast in the morning at the hotel. So why my stomach was being weird and I was feeling nauseous and having a migraine. I don't know what caused it, because no fever or nothing like that. I just felt nauseous, and I had a migraine. So, and then for lunch, we all met up at P.F. Chang's. I don't eat Chinese. I'm not really into Asian food. And I was told that there might have been something that I could eat, but there really wasn't. I ended up because my stomach was still feeling bleh, I ended up just getting some plain white rice with a little bit of salt, and I think I got Sprite. And then when my stomach started to settle, I drank Dr. Pepper. So I didn't really eat all that much, and I did not eat a big lunch because my stomach was feeling weird. But by the time that was all, after I had eaten that rice and let my stomach settle, I was fine. But then it was time to get ready for Coronation. We all got ready. We were there by 5. We found a seat. We checked in. I walked around, and they had outside. They were serving brisket plates for us. That was our dinner for Coronation, along with the show. After Coronation, we ended up we stayed. There was a special event. They had RuPaul girls, Kennedy Davenport, Jasmine Masters. They had Raja O'Hara. They had those 3 girls as part of a show as an after show after Coronation. So we got to stay. We stayed for that show, and we left the bar about 2 a.m. So we had been at the bar since 5 o'clock, and left at 2. That is 8 hours at the bar. And the night before, we were there for 6 or 7. So we were exhausted at that point. So I got to the hotel, got out of drag, took a shower, got comfortable, and I rested. I pretty much every night that I was in Fort Worth, I crashed out fairly quickly. Once I lay down, I was out in minutes. And then Sunday we did the Victory show and investiture, which is when the new Monarchs record invest their line of succession, and also give out any special awards or titles they want to give out. I mean, if you're not part of the court, it's hard to explain the logistics of the court. I can explain it briefly, but I'm not an expert at it. I just know I can explain in the later video what coronation is and what investitures is, but I'm basically telling you what it is anyway. So the investitures happened. They ended up doing the out of towners first for the victory show. I performed Queens Don't by Raylan. That number I've done it before for show locally. I think that song relates to the court. That's why I did it, because I feel like that number has a special meaning, because it's telling you yourself and telling others that you don't need all of this to be a queen, or that or you don't need this, or you're who you are, and queens don't hate, queens don't fight, things like that. That's the type of attitude you should have, because in the court it's not about the crown. And while they're pretty and nice to have, it's not about that. So that's the logistics of that. And then after they did the out of towners for the show, they ended up investing people, and then after they did the investing, they had the in-towners perform. I mean, I had a few drinks that day. I had a Bloody Mary. I had a Ciroc Red Berry with cranberry. I treated myself. I did not get drunk. I just drank 2 drinks and maybe 1 shot. And then the rest of the night I drank water and Dr. Pepper. Because they actually had, at the bars in Fort Worth, they actually had Dr. Pepper at the bar. So, the one bar, Reflections, had them in cans. At Urban Cowboy, which is where I competed for Diva in 2019, they had it on the tap. So that was really surprising, because I've never seen that. We don't have that in Corpus, so that's a surprise. Normally we get a Coke or a Sprite or a water, and because more commonly they don't have Dr. Pepper on the tap, or even the cans. But overall, the weekend was fun. I enjoyed it. I missed traveling. I missed being able to see people. As you can see, I'm fine. I'm not sick. I have not been sick since throughout COVID. I got my first vaccine a few weeks ago, so I should be okay. In about a week or so, I'm going to be due for my second vaccine, but I still wore a mask while I was up there. Nothing happened. They still did temp checks. They still did all those things that they're required to do to keep everybody safe. And I limited, also, my foot was hurting from time to time over the weekend. But again, once I was rested, I was fine, and I did my best to stay off of it when it was hurting. So my foot's doing a lot better this week. I'm not really feeling any pain in my foot. I mean, I'm still able to walk on it, and I'm probably on the trip back. I didn't wear the boot because it wasn't comfortable to have on the trip. So, and I have not worn my boot all week because I've been at home and I haven't gone anywhere. Besides, actually, I haven't gone anywhere. Actually, I've been at school. Doing my school classes in the morning, and then I do work in the evening, and that's it. It's been sort of boring, but that's life. And I am happy to say that being part of the court opens up a lot of doors, because it taught me, when I first joined the court, I did it at first to perform, because the court gave people an opportunity to perform that would not have before. So it is still true. I mean, if you want to perform for the court and you want to, donate your time and help us raise money for charity, you can do that. I truthfully feel that I've done everything I could, but now we're getting ready for our next maybe event. It's our state function. We're calling it a mini coronation, because our monarchs are reigning for 2 years because of COVID, which is tough. I don't think they are brave for doing that, because most people don't want to do it once, or can't do it, handle it once. It's very hard to do it for 2 years. So in all sense of the word, they had to reign for an extra year. And so this year, so we decided to do a P&P ball, kind of as a halfway point. It's not a coronation. It's still going to be a state function. We're going to treat it as a mini coronation. Friday night we're going to have an out of town show, in town show. Saturday we're going to have a ball. We have a host hotel and hospitality, which is where we have free food and alcohol for our guests, and of course us. So that's going to be fun. And I am actually the one of the coordinators for the out of town show. Yes, I was nominated, and it was really surprising because I was asked to be part of this committee, and then I wasn't not nominated for anything at first. My drag sister Jackie became the ball coordinator, along with a couple others that were friends within our court, and she's also running decorations. I feel that she's done what she needs to do. We're about a month out from that event. It is the weekend of April 30th and May 1st. We have a flyer up. I've already bought my ticket. We're almost sold out. So we are, for the weekend, it's $30, 25 for the. Normally, if you buy them separately, it's 25 for the ball, 10 for the out of town show, in town show. But for a week, the package is 30. So you might as well just buy the whole weekend because you have it. And so that's going to make it. So the court is going to profit off a lot of that as for the rain charities, and it's going to be, these fundraisers, these huge fundraisers are meant to raise money for our charities, and that's why we're doing them. Everybody is going to enjoy it. I actually have the honor of being a command Saturday night, and that's going to be a very fun adventure for me because Saturday is. I've never been a command for any event or any coronation. Or investiture. I've only been. I performed out of town shows. I performed in local shows, but I've never been a command. And a command is basically when a monarch or someone commands you to do a number for a special event. Usually it's with regards to monarchs commanding somebody to perform a coronation or investiture. But in this case, it's the lifetime princesses or the current prince or princesses. One of them asked me to be a performer for them. They could have performed themselves, or they could have gave it to someone else. My mom chose me because Mark, my stepdad, and her husband chose to have her as her command. So she can't do her own command and do that. I mean, she could if she wanted to, but I'm glad she's allowing me that opportunity because it's an honor to be chosen. And I do take this seriously, and I hope that I can do what I want to do for this show fully. But if not, I'm gonna have to do an abridged version because the number I'm doing was a number I was gonna use for something for my pageant, and I just don't feel like it's still up in the air. I'm still working on getting it cut and edited, so maybe I can do it abridged, but I don't like the way they've done it so far. I've tried to get it abridged, but it's so far not working. But other than that, we are currently in that process. We have a meeting on Monday about it, and I have other things going on as well. But I'm glad that we're all here and doing what we need to do. Well, I hope y'all see y'all soon. Bye.